How you doing? My name is Gene Gutierrez. I'm going to be talking about the grievous discussion case 2, full consideration of seniority and ability. The case pretty much consists of the Picasso Company paint gun factory had a leader position that had just become available. The company had the position available on the second and third shift. But some first shift employees got together and asked management if they would consider opening the same position on the first shift. After management deliberated, they came to the conclusion that they were opening the position, and they put the position up for employees to bid on it. After the bidding process of 3 days, two candidates came out. Candidate Elder, which was hired in 1987, and candidate Younger, which was hired in 1991. After doing their interview process and looking at their qualifications, management decided to go with the candidate Younger and give them the position based on their communication skills and the ability to listen. After the position was handed out, that's when the grievance process began. Elder, since he had more seniority, he or she had more seniority, filed a grievance saying that the history of the company is that the position goes to the most senior person. Since Elder was hired, if you look at the first slide, we can see a comparable between both employees. Elder was hired in 1987, previously held the position on the second and third shift as a shift leader, letting the position go so he could move to the first shift. He held the position for 5 years, so he has the knowledge and the ability to do the position. Younger, on the other hand, was hired in 1991, is qualified to move up to a first mechanics position, but has been unable to based on lack of open positions, but does have the qualifications to do a shift leader as well. If you move on to the next slide, this is where the grievance process begins. The grievance process begins, and if we look at the collective bargaining agreement in section 20-1, it says, in order to afford employees an opportunity to qualify for such opening or vacancy on the basis of seniority and ability to perform the available work. This is where the union is placing their case for the grievance, that the position should have went to Elder. Based on company history shows that, they're arguing that in the company's history shows that every time a position has opened up, it has gone to the most senior person that has applied for that position. So there's the grievance. If we look at the union itself, at the IAM Lodge 821, the person placing the argument is the president of the IAM Lodge 821. He's making his case based on the history of the company, as I just said, saying that being that Elder has held the position before, held it for 5 years, even though it was on the second and third shift, he feels the position should have went to him because he has knowledge, has the capability of doing the job as he's proven before. So that is where their argument stands, and they're standing firm on that. If we move on to the next slide, we're going to look at the position of the factory manager, Sharon Murphy, who made the final decision of hiring Younger. She followed the collective bargaining agreement section 20-4. It says the corporation agrees to give full consideration to seniority and the qualifications of employees in filling such vacancies. And pretty much her decision was based on the assessment of Younger. She looked at both. She looked at both candidates, and and she was able to determine that Younger was a better qualification for the position. she was able to determine that Younger was a better candidate for the position based on her communication skills and the fact that she was able to interact with other employees. Younger seemed to enjoy the job that she did, and that's pretty much why she was hired for the position. If you flip over to the next slide, it shows that that Sharon Murphy made the decision based pretty much on the history of Mr. or Mrs. Elder. The fact that he did hold the position for 5 years, but they did have some problems with him during the time of the 5 years. He did not want to follow directions. He did not follow proper protocol. She did give both parties the proper consideration for the position, but based on the history and based on the knowledge of Younger, they both are more than qualified for the position. Younger was able to stand out a little bit more for her communication skills. If we move on to the next slide, as the arbitrator for this case, I have to agree that that management did the correct thing. They did give Mr. or Mrs. Elder the correct consideration for the position, and that Younger is probably the best employee for the job at this time. The slide is pretty much the decision. If I was the hiring manager, or I would agree with Sharon Murphy, stating that based on qualifications and based on knowledge, Elder and Younger both are qualified for the position, but Younger does stand out based on her ability to communicate, follow directions, and take the team to the next level. That is my consideration, and that's pretty much where the company is going to go. Thank you.